everybody's entire lifespan, almost every single person in the world gets some very strange obsessions. Whether that's from you just love Dr. Pepper to you love the gym more than anything, or maybe running, or White Monster, or scrolling through TikTok, or whatever it is, almost every single person alive gets obsessed with something in their entire life, myself included. And with that, I've been obsessed with a lot of different things. So when I was younger, I was obsessed with video games, like hardcore into video games. I would get on, I'd play Rainbow Six Siege every single day for 8 to 10 hours a day. But over the years, that obsession has kind of gone away, and it went into anime for a little while, where I was just super obsessed with anime, where I would borderline watch anything that released, and I never really cared about the animation. I just wanted to get hooked on a good story, which is another reason why I was so obsessed with video games. And then over the years, from the time where I've kind of gone away from video games and I've just kind of gone away from anime, and especially with anime taking a very long time to release, for me personally, I have gotten obsessed to three things that are kind of similar, and that is manga, manhwa, and web novel. Now, if you don't know what any three of these things are, basically imagine a anime or a cartoon or comic or something like that, but with insane depth and detail behind every single page, behind every single chapter, and it is an addiction because it starts off where like you see a thing come out, like let's say Invincible or like Solo Leveling, for example. You see one of those two come out and you watch it and you're like, okay, yeah, this is pretty good. But then you kind of realize, man, this is going to take 6 years for them to get into the story. Like they're just taking way too long to, do anything with the story. So you check out their comic or you check out their manhwa or their manga or whatever it is, and you start reading those. And then you kind of hit this wall at some point. And I think, I don't know if anyone else has done this personally, because I see a lot of people say they do something else, but you hit this wall where you finish it very quickly and you're like, wow, the ability to sit down and read a entire story that's insanely good in like a day, maybe 4 days, absolute maximum if it's very long, just makes you feel like incredibly good. And it is addicting when these stories are good. So then you try to read more and more and more. And for me personally, what I ended up doing was I would want to read these so much while I was like, let's say, playing Minecraft or just playing any game in general, or maybe working on YouTube content, where I was like, man, it'd be great if I could listen to these like audiobooks, right? So I started looking them up on YouTube because I'm like, I'm sure there's someone out there, similar to like if you've ever read Lord of the Rings, who just has basically just put the book on YouTube and will read the entire book to you. Oh, sure enough, there is. Now, there is thousands of pages behind this, and a lot of them are really bad, and they're really bad for the creator because they just rip the stuff from the creator and like put in an AI voice generator. But some of these people that make the videos for this stuff are amazing. Like they will take a manga, manhwa, web novel, whatever it is, and they will translate the entire thing into English. I mean, a entire thing that's like in Chinese or Japanese or Korean, and they will translate the entire thing from beginning to end to English. And some of these people will form an entire script and they will read it in their actual voice. And you can tell like when it's a kind of an AI voice compared to, it being their real voice. And there's just people out there that like genuinely they'll make a 45-hour long video about a manhwa from start to finish where they read it and just make it insanely good. Like honestly, and it is such an addiction for me. Like I think I get on, kind of and I look at these every single day to see if there's any ones that I haven't seen or maybe I want to rewatch. That's how addicted I am. I'm rereading and rewatching some of these. Like when they're insanely good, and I'm like, man, I just want to like a refresher. And a lot of people will be like, well, why is it so different from watching a show or watching an anime or watching like an animated cartoon? And the simple reason for that is because there's so much more content. There's just so unimaginably more content, and not only watching it but also reading them as well, to the point where you can find any genre that you desire, right? So like I said, I kind of started with this rabbit hole with solo leveling when it first released because I didn't want to sit around for solo leveling all day, and since then I've probably gone through 600 or 700 different manhwa, and I can tell you like instantly, like if I click on them, right, I can be like, oh, I've read this before, and I can remember the plot in my head. Just because of like how my brain works, I will just not forget things for like ever, basically. So if I'm rewatching it, I think it's goaded. So for example, one of the ones I picked up recently, I don't remember the name of it. I'm sorry in advance. But one of the ones I picked up recently was basically Pokemon. But imagine if it was Pokemon with creatures in real life and also mystical creatures that we would consider to be like IRL as well, essentially. So it's like you have the mystic creatures and the default creatures in essentially a Pokemon esque universe. And then there's also cultivation, which basically means like they have to like level up their spirit power. And it's not like leveling up their spirit power like Dragon Ball Z, where they go and they like train in the hyperbolic time chamber. It's like no, they're taking like herbal medicines and stuff like that and like beast blood to evolve, and it is just insanely good. Like those ones, there's obviously ones that are just copies of solo leveling. I mean, if anybody has read uh manhwas or anything like that, then that there's so many copies of certain ones. And I just wanted to share this today because I genuinely think that if you are someone who maybe enjoys reading, right, and maybe you don't always have the time to read, I do think that some of the YouTube channels are beneficial to the artist. Not all of them, like I said before, like the ones that are just pure AI obviously aren't beneficial, but ones that give the artist full credit, they try to showcase the entire story, and then they also kind of show where they got it from. I think do benefit the artist because it brings more traction into the people that would never see it, like myself, because there's so many sites for this stuff, especially the ones that are only in Chinese, only in Japanese, only in Korean. Like those ones especially will just never be seen in the States unless people put them on YouTube and translate them, because they're taking them from like an app that's only in China basically. So you just will never see it. So there's a lot of good ones out there, and I would definitely recommend it. It is a addiction. I will say that. Like at first, it's just gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna read this little book, and then you're gonna be like, whoa, that story was insane. Let me find another really good one, and it just there's so much like craziness that happens in them. And I will say one of the things that after watching all of these and reading all of them a lot, one of the things I despise the most is the classic character bad guy trope. And you might be asking, well, Ember, what do you think? Like, what do you mean by that? Okay, well, the classic bad guy trope is where you have the MC. The MC in these manga and manhwa are usually like a poor guy. And there's two tropes that I absolutely despise. One is where they kick the MC out of like their party and it's like a dungeon situation. I even hate this in anime too. But like that trope is just so dumb. Like how do you not know that you being one of the best parties in the world and you have a guy instantaneously healing all of your wounds the second that you take any damage. How do you not know that he's like overpowered, you know? Like it just doesn't make sense in my mind. Like I feel like if I was that party, I'd be like, "Oh, well, I probably looked for a different healer or a different tank or whatever the MC is, right? Before I found the MC." And then some of them are like, "Oh, well, they were childhood best friends," and then their childhood best friends, and then the guy betrays them. Really, really? Like it's just a stupid trope. But the other one that I very much dislike is where the main like villain, I guess you could say, I guess it's not the main villain, but a side villain is just some random guy that's like in the MC's class and just basically bullies the MC for the dumbest reasons in existence. And when I say the dumbest, I truly mean the dumbest. Like I watched, like I said, I watched that Pokemon one literally like yesterday, and the guy was being bullied because this guy was essentially trying to throw around his name in a place he can't throw around his name right next to the person in charge of said place and then got mad at the MC for not bowing down and licking hit between his toes, you know? Um, and then that guy basically just like fights the MC for like the next 100 chapters. Like it's super annoying. I still like the manhwa. It's an annoying trope when the background villain can't ever learn or just stays there for too long. But there is a way that it can be good, right? Like there's one that I watched where this guy kind of like goes back, he regresses, which is he goes back in time in his same body essentially, and he's playing like this game, and he gets the ability to, it's not to like resurrect the dead. Well, what it is he basically takes their soul and revives them from the ground up. So it's not like, oh, is just, reincarnating them like they're a zombie. It's like, no, he is basically giving them a rebirth, I guess you could say, into his legion. And something that's, I just saw something fall. I think there might be a massive spider on my desk, and my brain is losing it right now. But so basically, this guy, same thing, has the classic bully trope happen to him, and then the bully, like once the MC beats him up, the guy's like, "Whoa, whoa, this guy's insanely strong," and then he literally apologizes to the MC and is like, and literally like showers him in gifts and stuff like that. And it's like, "I'm sorry that I wronged you. You're right. I was wrong." And like he basically changes his entire ways, which is like a W way to do it. I think more manhwa should do that instead of like trying to just build like a massive harem, I guess you could say, for the MC. Like I think that's kind of cringe in a lot of these, especially in ones where it doesn't make sense why he would have that. It's just like he has it because he doesn't want to invite like the crazy strong guy that's actually his friend to the group. Like I just don't like that personally. Before we go though, I am going to give some recommendations just because this is what we're talking about. So I'm going to go through them pretty quick here. I already pulled them up. So first off, Overgeared. It's literally the guy is in a game. He makes overpowered items. It's funny, very long, pretty good story. Marshall Peak. If you are looking to get into basically the martial arts version of the uh, like manhwa, this is really good. I'm blanking the name for it right now. But basically everybody knows Marshall Peak. This is like the most common one. A lot of cringe like tropes in here, but it's still really good. Like it just is, and it's also a good like starter to like get into the martial arts universe for it. Monster Pet Evolution. This is one that's similar to the Pokemon thing I was talking about earlier. Monster Pet Evolution. Guy can go in, tame monsters. He can see their evolution, and basically evolve them like it's Pokemon. I mean, it's just cool. The Lone Necromancer is a post-apocalyptic world where people get classes, and this guy in the MC's a necromancer, and it's like he's a real necromancer. He's not like he doesn't like summon shadows or something like that. He's a full real necromancer, but it's post-apocalyptic world, so he just has to try like 10 times harder than like other necromancers, really. But if you're trying to get into it, there's four for you. Yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about today was to rant about my addiction to manga, manhwa, and web novels. So let me know in the comments, I guess, if anybody else has the same addiction or what your guys' addiction is. Really, something like like you're addicted to Dr. Pepper or something like that. I'll make sure to like the comment. But hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful night. Peace.